We're doing this again. The title says it all. This has been an ongoing series and I've had a lot of fun bringing it to you guys. Today we are ranking all of the Hermès fragrances I have in my collection. Hermès, to me, if you're asking me, is one of the top designer brands out there as far as interesting, cutting edge perfume heritage. To this day, they are still doing their own thing. They don't seem to be following trends. They stick to their aesthetic. Their products are distinctive. They are so authentic to themselves. They're not just trying to please everyone. And in that way, a lot of their products are kind of niche. If we look outside of the distribution and outside of the name, what the actual product is, when you get it in your hand, when you spray it on and you smell it, you're getting a niche fragrance product. I'd love to know what you think about that in the comments. So I've got 11 Hermès fragrances here and I'm so thrilled to share them with you. Now, if you missed the last video like this that we did, and I think most of you did miss it, looking at these numbers here, I'm gonna link it right here. We did this for the House of Cartier, which is also, if you're asking me, one of the top houses as far as all the things I kind of just discussed about Hermès. And it is a shame that some of the houses that are trying to give us depth-filled, novel, interesting perfume products are not really top of the heap, but that is also nothing new. It applies to almost everything dealing with the distribution of something to people. You cast a wider net like a lot of these other brands do that are way more popular, you're gonna get a whole lot more people in that net. Brands like Hermès and Cartier, narrow nets. So I get it, but I still encourage you to learn more if you haven't taken the time to do so yet. So check out that Cartier video when you get a chance, but for now, let's dive right into this. Couple things you need to know. Number one, I don't own every Hermès fragrance ever made, so there will be fragrances that you know and love that I don't have, so you won't see them here. Let's make peace with that. Also, I've tried my best to rank these fragrances considering both taste and function. What am I actually reaching for? Am I actually wearing these fragrances? And also, how do I feel about them? Both of those things coincide to determine this ranking. Ultimately, I like and appreciate every fragrance here, but each one caters to my taste, my function, and or both in different ways. Here at the 11th spot, we have this beautiful fragrance. This is called L'Ombre des Merveilles, and this is just an odd scent. It is a fragrance that when I smell it, I find it pleasant. There's really nothing about it I dislike. It's just not a scent I really like on my body. That's what I've learned over the past couple years that I've had it. It is both simple and deep. There's interesting things coming together here. It is kind of fresh in this almost sea foamy soapy way. Not overtly soapy, but it's almost like you imagine what the sea foam looks like washing up on the shore. That's kind of the freshness I get out of this. It is mixed with this interesting fruity sweetness that I can't really determine, almost like a red fruit. You won't find it in any note breakdowns, but that is blended with some very clear tea and incense and some tonka beans. So there is this cooling, wispy, kind of smoky freshness to it. It is sweet by way of that tonka bean, but again, I also get this other kind of sweetness in there. And there is a calming quality from that tea. It paints a beautiful picture. It smells very unique, but once again, just for my taste, I don't really wear it. We'll see if I hold on to this one. I'm still not sure. I might end up passing this one off in the near future, but for now, I appreciate it. If any of what I said sounds interesting, I would check it out for yourself. You might feel differently than me. I know there's people out there who do enjoy it and do wear it. That is L'Ombre des Merveilles. Up next is a beautiful fragrance. Once again, nothing about this I dislike. It's just not a part of my functional wardrobe, and it just hasn't been for the past several years that I've had this. I've worn it probably a dozen times and I've enjoyed it every single time. It's something I do like smelling on myself, but oftentimes I think just out of logistics, I overlook it. I don't see it because this bottle is so tiny. This is Un Jardin Sur le Nil. Beautiful fragrance. Many might call this a timeless masterpiece. I would agree with that. I just don't really wear it that much, and that's why I have to be honest with you and put it at this low spot on the list. I just don't reach for it, but I need to reshuffle my collection, and I honestly really need to get rid of stuff so I can have space to reshuffle and have space to see tiny little bottles like this so I can reach for it more because I like it. It's green and vegetal. It's watery and fresh and light. People say it smells like you're walking along a garden near a river or a body of water. There is a watery, fresh facet that is very smooth and calm. There is like carrot and some other kind of green herbal notes in there, and it comes together in a very natural way. It is mastery in perfumery. Truly, this is a masterclass in and of itself. I just gotta wear it more. Let me know what you think of Un Jardin Sur le Nil. This is one of the newer Hermès fragrances to my collection. It is an absolute classic. It's been around for decades, and there's a reason for that, because it is one of their best sellers, I would imagine. This is called Eau D'Orange Verte, and a lot of people are going to crap on this fragrance because they're going to say it lasts 5 minutes. First of all, no fragrance is going to last 5 minutes unless your skin is sandpaper or you're going nose blind. That's just not a thing. So let's not exaggerate and make silly claims like that. That is not a thing, unless you're dealing with like maybe 0.00027% perfume oils. That's also not a thing. This fragrance is moving up the ranks for me primarily because of its function. I find this so easy to wear. I wear it primarily to the gym when I need something refreshing, uplifting, and bright, but something that only will last for the gym session. I don't need this to be an all-day wear. I spray it kind of liberally when I go. It's a minty, woody, green, orange fragrance. That is about what it is. There's a petitgrain feel. There's a dry, woody, leafy feel. There's a fresh herbal mintiness. There is a pretty forward, bitter orange feel that just gets even fresher in the heat or when you warm up. It's just something that makes me feel good when I'm smelling it around me, but it's light. It does not go anywhere near being overwhelming. Again, if you do want to wear this casually, not to the gym, you could probably get away with 10 sprays of this, especially on a hot day, especially outside, and it's going to be fine. It's going to serve the purpose, and it'll probably disappear within 5 hours. But again, when I'm at the gym, I don't need 5 hours, and if I do, I think I have a problem. And if you do, maybe you have a problem. Stop it. Get some help. Anyway, I'm enjoying this stuff more and more. It might continue to climb the ranks. That is Eau D'Orange Verte. Up next is the first flanker that came from one of Hermès's newer collections in the past few years. This is from the H24 line. This is the EDP, which is the direct follow-up to H24 EDT, which we will see later in this list. And I like the EDP. When I first got it, I felt like I liked it more than the EDT, but as you see, we haven't talked about the EDT yet. So as you can deduce, that has changed for me. I do actually prefer the EDT, but I still do really like the Eau de Parfum and what they've done with it. If you don't know the H24 DNA, it is this green, fresh, metallic fragrance profile. There's a simple quality to it, but there's also so much definitiveness. It doesn't really smell like anything else out there. And the EDP version enhances a mossy quality, and it brings what a lot of people call this banana feel. I think there's clary sage in here, which is a sweeter herbal note. There is narcissus, which is this kind of damp, green, earthy, floral quality to it. And with that moss, for some reason, people say it kind of smells like green, sweet bananas that are kind of fresh and metallic, maybe a little bit less metallic than the EDT. Say what you will, but it is a very unique profile that I do find to be very wearable. And if you are a fan of the EDT and you want something a little bit heavier, maybe something to wear more for the evening with that DNA, then this is one to consider. I do really like it, and I'm definitely going to hold on to this one. H24 Eau de Parfum. And while we're talking about H24, let's talk about not the EDT. This is the brand new H24 Herbes Vives. And when I first smelled this, I was a little bit disappointed because I thought it just kind of smelled like the EDP that we just talked about, swapping the banana for pear. As I've gotten to know it a little bit more, not really that simple. There's more going on here. There is a little bit more of a twist to this profile, but it is still very much tied to the H24 lineup. It's fresher. There's something cooling about it. There is some kind of note called Viscool or something. I don't know. It is a synthetic aroma chemical that adds this cooling quality. When put together with the pear, there's almost this icy or refrigerated or frozen pear feel. It's still kind of metallic. It's still a little bit mossy. Definitely still fresh. Definitely still smells like H24, but for whatever reason, I just like it this much more than the Eau de Parfum. We'll see if that continues as I get to wear it. We have another new Hermès fragrance to my collection, and this is Terre D'Hermes Eau Intense Vetiver. We're going to start to see a lot of Terre D'Hermes in this lineup because Terre D'Hermes is one of my favorite collections from the house. The Eau Intense Vetiver is definitely more intense on the vetiver. It brings this more bitter, more earthy, woody vetiver that honestly, to some of you guys, might have a little bit of a stinky quality to it. That might not sound very appealing at all, but that's the first thing I thought of when I first smelled it. I'm like, oh, there's a little bit more of this slightly edgy, stinky feel compared to the others from this collection, but it is not off-putting. If you can imagine that, it just has this even more distinctive quality with the vetiver. So you really got to be a vetiver lover to enjoy this one. I find it a little bit more of a standout scent profile. It has more of a specific scent personality than the original Terre D'Hermes, if you can imagine that. this might continue to move up the ranks as I get to know it better. Again, it's still pretty new to my collection. That is Terre D'Hermes Eau Intense Vetiver. And let's jump back to H24. We have the Eau de Toilette here. I did blind buy this fragrance when it came out. I want to say it was 2021. I got it straight from Hermès before it hit any discounter, so I paid full retail. I was so excited. It came in the mail, and honestly, I was kind of disappointed. This was the first male marketed follow-up to Terre D'Hermes, and that's a big deal because Terre D'Hermes came out in 2006, if I'm not mistaken, and it took until 2021 for Hermès to give us a new male marketed DNA. And I put this on, and I think I just had Terre D'Hermes in my mind, and it didn't live up to it. But I, with subsequent wearings, realized this is its own thing. It doesn't smell like anything else, and I really appreciate it now. I've already described the DNA. It just doesn't have that kind of forward fruity quality that the other two that I talked about have this illusion of. This is just more green, metallic, definitely fresher for sure, but definitely heavier on the metallic feel, which some people may not like. It's just maybe a little bit more versatile, more year-round use here. Let me know if you dig it. All right, some of you guys might have thought this would be my number one, and I really like it. These next few fragrances, it's hard to really order them up, except for the number one. The number one is number one for sure, but this is a classic. We just referenced it. This is Terre D'Hermes, the original Eau de Toilette, spicy, fresh, citrusy orange, definitely woody. Some people say it's kind of soily and dirty. I don't really get that anymore these days. It's not really a dirty scent. There is a cleanliness here. There is this indisputable masculine quality to it. It still is a timeless scent. You would not think this came out almost 20 years ago. And I think it's going to be around for the foreseeable future. I don't see this going anywhere. Let me know what you think of this DNA. Some of you guys still may not care for it or appreciate it. It took me some time to come around to it, but I'd love to know what you think down in the comments. If you haven't checked it out yet for some reason, maybe you've been afraid of some of the opinions you've heard, do yourself a favor and get a sample. It's such a low cost to do such a thing. I'll link to something down below, maybe with a little discount code. Terre D'Hermes Eau de Toilette. I haven't even been spouting off the rankings, but this is the third spot. And if you're getting tired of Terre D'Hermes, sorry, we have Terre D'Hermes Eau Givree, released from 2022, and what a beautiful follow-up in this line. Effectively replaced the Eau Très Fresh version, which I have very little experience with. I think I tried it once or twice while it was still in stores several years ago. Haven't bothered to go looking for it now, but I don't feel like I need it because I feel like this serves that purpose. This is one of my go-tos for the summertime. This is a fragrance that I cannot get away from on a hot day when I just need something to smell fresh and uplifting, but I want something that has a little bit more character, a little bit more class to it. Something I could dress up a little bit more if I want to. Icy, cold grapefruit, a little bit fruity in terms of a slight sweetness, but it's mostly pretty bitter, a little bit more on the rind side of things. And I cannot tell you enough how much the juniper berry in this makes it smell icy and cold, lowering the air temperature around you, cooling you off in a way. It's an incredible scent experience. More than just the smell itself going into your nose. When you spray it on, you feel it around you. The experience overall is something to behold. Let me know what you think if you've tried it. If you don't care for it, that's life. But I think many of you guys have enjoyed this one. If you haven't yet tried it, try it down below. That is Terre D'Hermes Eau Givree. At the second spot, we have a hallmark profile from Hermès that I believe might not be the easiest to get these days. I don't think it's in retail stores anymore, but maybe still available online, even outside of discounters. But I got this from fragrancebuy.ca. This is so good. Voyage d'Hermès, and this is the Parfum version. This is fresh, green, woody, and dark. I honestly imagine being in a forest, a very verdant forest, very green, but in the shade. There's a shadiness to this freshness. The air is kind of cool, damp and woody, but on the body, it just smells like a gentleman. It smells refined. It's a pretty light scent profile in terms of its presence. Parfum does not always imply it's going to be super noticeable. It sticks close to the skin. It's a heavy scent while still being pretty fresh. It's not something I would wear for all day wear. I typically save this for the evening time when I want something fresh at night and I only need it for 5 to 6 hours or so. This is perfect for that. It's not alluring, it's not sexy, at least not in the ways you would typically described, but there's something about it that is softly authoritative. Let me know what you think of Voyage d'Hermès Parfum if you've tried it. I don't have much experience with the EDT, not since I've smelled it years ago in stores, but if you dig that one too, let me know what you think. And a lot of you guys already saw this coming, probably before you even clicked on the video. My number one spot, without wasting any more time, is going to be Terre D'Hermès Parfum. Oh yeah. While I've said it many times, Terre D'Hermes, the EDT, is basically a 9 out of 10, maybe pushing 9.5. This is a 10 out of 10 simply because of factors I cannot explain to you. It's the wearing experience. Again, not just the smell, but the experience. When it's on my body, when I'm smelling it, I'm getting those wafts in the breeze, or if I'm inside somewhere, and how all of that makes me feel. That is what brings this to a 10. That's the best way I can describe it to you. It is the Terre D'Hermes DNA, condensed, polished, refined, sharp edges taken away, still kind of fresh, but definitely not something I would wear on a hot day out. I would definitely choose the Eau Givree for that. This is more for milder days when I want to be sophisticated and confident, or even for the evenings. This is when I'll pull for this one. So this is for all times of the year when it's not blazing hot. Any other time I can easily wear this, but I do think it does shine with a little bit of warmth when you're heating up a bit. It comes to life. It's still citrusy, it's still woody and dry, but it's just rounder and smoother. It moves slower. Love this stuff. It's my number one, my favorite in my collection at this point in time. Terre D'Hermes Parfum. I want to know what you think of my selections down in the comments. As usual, let's talk about it. Once again, you can try everything I've spoken about down in the description. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.